because they're bamboozled, but I'm going to break it down for them. I would say this to the Prime Minister. What was it about the twice disgraced, paedophile-adjacent, self-styled Prince of Darkness that you found so attractive to put into this plum job, not just of government, but of the United Kingdom on the world stage? What was it, Prime Minister, that appealed to you about Peter Mandelson?
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to The High Ground. So today we're looking at a moment in Parliament that honestly felt less like politics and more like somebody finally saying out loud what a lot of frustrated people of UK have been thinking for years. And if you watch Sorcha Eastwood carefully here, you can tell this is not just another scripted attack on Keir Starmer. There's real anger behind it, especially when she starts talking about ordinary people feeling disconnected from the language and culture of Westminster politics. That part lands because I'm sure you viewers watching already feel exactly that way. Let's break this down properly. And please, if you want more honest conversations like this that actually say what a lot of people are thinking, but Westminster keeps dancing around, take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel and stay part of the conversation.
Sorcha Eastwood.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and indeed, as others have already said, you almost feel like everything has been said at this point, but one thing that strikes me in all of this is that this is called the House of Commons. Our job is to come here and represent the common person. And it is so far removed from the common person, this entire debate. But we are dealing with a situation where the Prime Minister of the day is now saying that he regrets the appointment of Mandelson. And I'm not going to get into the whys and wherefores of DV and strap and CTC and everything else, because my people in Lagan Valley don't know what that means. And a lot of people are banking on the ordinary man and woman on the street not to know what that means, and to stop being curious and to suspend their expectations, because this is all highfalutin serious stuff and we don't really know what that is. Maybe they did do right, maybe they didn't do right, because they're bamboozled, but I'm going to break it down for them. I would say this to the Prime Minister. What was it about the twice disgraced, paedophile-adjacent, self-styled Prince of Darkness that you found so attractive to put into this plum job, not just of government, but of the United Kingdom on the world stage? What was it, Prime Minister, that appealed to you about Peter Mandelson? We still don't have the answer. We still don't have the answer. But all I know is that my constituents are disgusted with all of this. And this isn't the first time, it's not the second time, it's not the third time. It has been going round in a merry-go-round no matter who it is. And I am indignant, and I am outraged. And a lot of people in this building are expecting us to no longer be outraged. We'll be outraged. Because if we can't prove that this works, we know he's going to step into the shadows. We know he's going to be out there setting the algorithms. We know who is going to be preying on the carcass of what was a once great democracy. And we've seen other democracies fail. Let's not fool ourselves that the UK is immune from this. And the number one thing we can do within our gift is to show that we still value integrity. And for those reasons, there is not a single excuse that this government can come up with that I can sell to my constituents or myself that I will believe. And for those reasons, I believe that the Prime Minister needs to go, not just for his own party, but more importantly, for the sake of the country.
Dr. Ben Spencer.
And honestly, this is where the conversation becomes bigger than Peter Mandelson or even Keir Starmer himself. Because what Sorcha Eastwood was really talking about here was trust, public trust. And once that starts breaking down, politics becomes a very dangerous place. If you watch that speech closely, notice what connected with people most. It was not really the parliamentary procedure or the technical language around appointments. It was the feeling behind what she was saying, the frustration, the disbelief. The sense that ordinary people are constantly expected to accept explanations that no longer sound convincing. And that matters because Britain has already been through years of institutional damage politically. The expenses scandal damaged Parliament. Brexit exposed massive divisions across the country. Then came COVID controversies, lobbying rows, donor questions, party infighting, economic instability, leadership collapses, and constant political scandals cycling through Westminster almost non-stop. Over time, people stop reacting with shock and start reacting with exhaustion. That is the dangerous stage democracies can drift into. And I actually think Eastwood touched on something important when she warned about people stepping into the shadows and feeding off public anger. Because history shows that when trust in mainstream institutions collapses, more extreme voices usually fill the vacuum. We have seen that happen across Europe, parts of Latin America, and even in the United States over the last decade. That does not happen overnight. It happens slowly. One scandal at a time, one controversy at a time, one moment where people feel accountability never really arrives. Now, to be fair, supporters of Starmer would argue that governments still need experienced figures around them, especially people with international connections and political experience. That is the defence you often hear in Westminster circles. But the problem is perception matters in politics just as much as process. And from where I am sitting, that is where Labour keeps running into trouble lately. Even when there may be technical explanations behind decisions, many voters no longer judge politics technically. They judge it emotionally. They ask themselves one simple question: does this feel honest? And for a growing number of people, the answer increasingly feels like no. That is why speeches like this suddenly explode online, not because everybody watching agrees politically, but because people recognise the emotion underneath it. The feeling that politics has become distant, managerial, insulated and disconnected from ordinary life. You could even hear it in the way Eastwood spoke about the common person. That line mattered because many people across Britain genuinely feel politics is discussed in a language designed more to protect institutions than explain decisions clearly. And once voters start believing politicians talk around problems instead of addressing them directly, every future controversy becomes harder to contain. That is the deeper issue underneath this entire exchange. Not just Mandelson, not just Starmer, trust itself. And whether Labour likes it or not, rebuilding that trust is becoming one of the biggest political challenges in Britain right now. If you want more conversations like this, stay with the channel.